Hey, what up, YouTube? It's Case Prime here, and first thing I want to say is Happy St. Patrick's Day. You can't pinch me because I'm wearing my green and I've got a green ring on, so you can't touch me. Although it would be kind of hard to pinch me because, my fingers can't fit the camera. Anyway, since today's St. Patrick's Day, I thought I'd take a break from Office Week. That will be going up next, but I thought I'd do another thing related to St. Patrick's Day that kind of screamed it to me when I was thinking about it. It's another TV show episode, although I don't think I've done one for this series. I don't think so. I've done these for The Office, I've done these for South Park, but I haven't done one for this series yet. This time I'm going to do one from Family Guy, and this is a special St. Patrick's Day review. This time I'm going to do the episode Peter's Two Dads. This was actually one of my favorite. This was probably my favorite episode. Well, not my absolute favorite, but it was one of my favorites. I found it incredibly enjoyable. The episode opens with Chris, Peter, and Lois sitting on the couch, and Meg comes in saying that for her party this year, she wants all of her friends and a band. And apparently they don't Peter and Lois don't understand what she's saying. And then Chris has to come in and mention it's Meg's birthday next week, because apparently Meg is as a character that she's been abused. The Griffins, they tend to do stuff to her that she's not really proud of, and like they kick her out of the house, like there's one episode when he was trying to get a Surfing Bird record from that cafe. So he said you could have sex with my daughter instead of saying Meg, it was some other random chick. And of course, I don't know what more season her, but basically, they basically forget about her, like they forget her age, how old she's gonna be turning. So they try to steer her the conversation. They go into her room and try to steer her into the conversation. They try to spill how old she's gonna be. And apparently she's gonna be 17. So once again, Peter throws her another cheap-ass party, inviting a bunch of random people, like neighborhood friends and random people, and Peter's father, Francis, shows up, and his idea of a gift is a cookie from lunch period at the home. He wants to see her eat it! Sorry. But he wanted to see her eat it. So Quagmire tries to lighten things up by telling a little bit of comedy. But then Peter, this idea of a surprise, is dressing up as a clown, a drunken clown. Or as he puts it, "Hey kids, I'm Pea Pantsy, a nurse-shaped hobo clown. I'm an adorable tramp who wears found clothing and eats out of your garbage cans." So basically he tries to be a drunken clown and try to impress them, but instead he just ends up going crazy and whatnot and other crap. Man, did you see that my face was frozen up for just a little bit of time? My face... Ugh. Regardless. I've been doing that a lot today. My face has been freezing up for various reasons, but I'm kind of tired right now. I didn't sleep well last night. But regardless, basically for his grand finale, he goes off to get a tool and leaves Chris to fill in for him. And apparently Herbert the pervert is being a freaking stalker again. And then he comes down, he accidentally crashes and ends up killing his own father. And then he reveals his last words to Peter were, "You're a fat stinking drunk." His last words were, "Peter, you're a fat stinking drunk." And he thinks that booze killed his father and he should never drink again. So Brian sends him to a hypnotherapist, which apparently is the gay guy Bruce, to kind of reflect on his memory. Also, I forgot something. Apparently, Stewie, of all characters on the show, is going through the mind phase. Now, for any of you who don't remember your childhoods or have a hard time remembering what this is, the mind phase is basically a point in your life when basically you think everything belongs to you. And apparently Stewie takes us out. I went through that when I was 9 years old. And basically Stewie's going through that experience thinking that Meg's birthday gifts are his, basically. saying that he's entitled to those things, especially after he got ripped off by an Asian Santa at the mall, where he couldn't take too long. So at the hypnotherapist's office, Peter learns that Francis Griffin wasn't really his father, and that he's missed so much in his life. And then Stewie keeps on going through his mind phase, and apparently he finds one of Lois and Peter's toys, and apparently Lois comes at him because apparently he got into her jewelry box, and he destroys some of the jewelry, and she spanks him, or actually she didn't really spank, she slapped him on the back, and this upsets him, and Stewie goes, there it goes again. I keep on freezing in these weird tangents. I don't know why. Was it that I didn't sleep well last time? I don't know. But regardless, I'm losing track here. But regardless, basically he then realized that he hasn't been that scared since Mother Teresa OD'd in his car. And I still don't know what ODing is. I'll find out on my own. Please don't tell me. I'd rather find out my own way. But then Peter goes to the only other person who he's known his whole life that's still alive today. His mother. He basically goes to her and asks her, "Who's my real father?" I don't know how long she's been hiding that, but basically she explains that about 30 years ago, she was vacationing in Ireland, and she met a young rogue named Mickey McFinnigan. And apparently, he was the one that gave Peter birth. Well, she's the one that made love to... I forget Peter's mother's name. I never bothered to learn it, but basically they were the two that made cookies and got her pregnant and gave birth to Peter. So he vows to go to Ireland with Brian to try to find him and meet him and tell him the news. And at this time, Stewie realizes that after that strike he got from Lois, he realized that he's one of those people that actually gets a jolly or a joy out of getting hit. Like he loves the rush of the pain. So he tries to get himself in trouble so he can get hit again or tortured or somehow. And he does anything. He spills a glass of juice when he's in the kitchen. He draws David Tua on the wall. He does anything. But then in Ireland, Peter and Brian go to a pub, my mistake, and they learn that Mickey McFinnigan is apparently the quote-unquote town drunk, which Peter thinks means he's the disgrace of the whole town, because usually that's what he means by his standards, but apparently in Ireland, the town drunk is a person of great honor and respect. So Peter just tries to tell him, "You're my father," and Mickey thinks that he's joking. Like he's saying like, "Oh, am I your father now? I guess it's your money you want. Do I owe you some allowance?" But he tries to tell him, "I'm really your son. I wanted to know you and become friends." But then he tells him, "You can't be my son. You and I are nothing alike. That's awesome sheep. O'Brien, whose leg up to hope to get a pint to Guinness around here?" And basically, Brian's got an ancestor too, although he's not really a dog, he's a sheep. Regardless, he basically is upset that he has two fathers, and neither one of them want anything to do with him. But then a Star Wars parody comes in, with how you'd see him like as Force ghosts, or whatever those illusions of them were, like when Obi-Wan went to Luke in Episode 5 and said, "You have to go to the Dagobah and learn the ways of the Force from Yoda." Basically, that same kind of thing happens with Francis, where he explains that you're a fat, stinking drunk, and you should challenge him. That's right on the money. And he's a fat, stinking drunk because his father was a fat, stinking drunk. So to prove it to him, he challenges him to a drinking contest. And he ends up winning, proving to Mickey that he is his son. And then he can forget all about Francis. And basically, in the end, Brian tries to convince him that even though Francis wasn't really his father, he should approve of him because he raised him as if he was one of his own. And if that isn't love, he won't know what is. And honestly, I don't really know what to think of that. I mean, what's he getting at? Could somebody tell me, like, what's he trying to mean by that? Like, well, I'm just rambling right now. I understood what that kind of meant. Where even though he wasn't really your real father, you should still be happy with him for getting you where you are now. Gave you a home and raised you, so you should be happy. So, what happens from there, you ask? Well, they decide to break into a little musical number, and maybe this will help me explain my statement. Get the volume up.
But there is one thing, Mickey. You knocked up my mom and never called her again.
Yeah, so what?
So what? So let's dance! Oh, he doesn't smell like Irish Spring, and he never taught me anything. But still, I slap my chest and sing of my drunken Irish dad. Oh, his face looks like a railroad map, and he never shuts his friggin' trap. But all the ladies catch the clap of your drunken Irish dad. Ask a Hennessy, Tennessee, Morrison, Shaughnessy, Reardon, and Rooney, they'll tell you the same. McNulty, Mulrooney, and Cotter, and Clooney all feel the same mixture of pride and of shame. Finnegan, Hannigan, Kelly, and Flanagan look to the ground when their dad passes by. Hafferty, Rafferty, Joyce, and O'Lafferty fight for his honor and then start to cry. Oh, we Irish lads are all infirm and our moods infect us like a germ, cause we're all the spawn of a pickle sperm.
And we don't tan well either.
From a drunken Irish.
That should prove my point. Sorry about that swallow going. There it goes. Regardless, overall, I think Peter's Two Dads is not only a great quote-unquote St. Patrick's Day special, but it's still a funny episode overall. Honestly, Peter's Two Dads was probably my favorite episode ever. And if you remember my Volume 5 Family Guy review I did last year, about this time, maybe a little bit later, maybe in April, maybe like May, Peter's Two Dads was an episode of that volume, and I'm really glad I have that. But I also have that episode on my iPod. I would get it, but I'm a little bit too lazy. But regardless, if you can find the episode on TV, watch it. It's a good episode. You won't be disappointed. And I hope that the music was playing loud enough, because I would have just stood there for nothing. But regardless, I think it's a really good episode. I highly recommend it. You should go check it out. And happy St. Patrick's Day, guys. Yes, I have a Green Lantern ring on St. Patrick's Day. Sue me.